go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. If you are on TikTok right now, you can check us out on our YouTube live. Okay, we are live. You can see what's going on this screen up here. Good morning, everyone. All of y'all were late except Jocelyn. What is going on today? And I mean, not just a little bit late, like a whole lot of late in my eyes. Y'all do better now. Do better. Because we want to start on time. We got people waiting on us. Okay? All right. So today we are talking about infection control. What y'all know about it? Probably not a lot. Especially what you have seen in the salons. The things that are going on in the salons. We are on page 94 in the book. Okay? If y'all want to follow along, because we're going to talk about some things that these are definitely going to be on your state board. Again, the seniors, I know y'all probably have not had this chapter. I don't know how I managed to skip over it. So you may want to listen in today. Okay? You may want to listen in. All right. We got Shayla over here in the corner. Let's say hey, Shayla. Shayla. Because we are live. We are live for sure. I'm just making sure we are live. Yes. Will you check that? Yeah. Just to, make sure. Oh, hold on. Y'all, I got new gear. Hold on. Hold on. I want to make sure we got good sound. Ooh. Want to make sure we got some good sound. Okay. Make sure you can hear me too really good on that live. All right. So y'all like to, okay, yeah, we moved some, well, let me not say we. I moved some things around. Y'all should see the bruises all over my knees from pushing stuff around. We're working. Oh, okay, now turn it down. I can't stand the sound of my own voice. Y'all can't stand the sound of my own voice. All right, so if you are in the live, you will be able to see what my students see. So like I'm testing out this new program. Y'all tell me how y'all like it now, because I think it is much better. Okay, so sorry, I must have hit a button. Okay, so sharing tools. What else? What else do you guys notice that people are doing that's gross? How about not washing hands, sending the client to wash their hands, the nail tech washing their hands, right? Okay, what about sanitizing the tables, sanitizing everything that you touch, every single thing? What are some things that you touch that you never clean? Jocelyn, you just did it. When the last time you cleaned your lamp with a sanitizing wipe? Didn't you just touch it? Yeah. You touched it, right? Yeah. And so it's one of those things that you don't even think about, right? One of my very good friends, she is, when I tell you, when I watch her videos, I feel like I'm watching someone that's about to do like surgery. She's a nail tech. If City Escape Spa, if y'all don't follow her, she's the #1 salon and spa in Castleberry, Florida. She wins the award every year. But when I tell you, that girl don't play about sanitation. You see her on her videos, she's got gloves on, she's wiping everything, okay? And some of your faves are just gross. Some of your faves are just gross, okay? And I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I overlook and don't do exactly what I'm supposed to do, but when you know, okay? And we try to do better once we learn, once we know better, okay? So we're going to talk about infection control and how important it is for us as professionals to stop the spread of infection, okay? We're also going to talk about some federal and state regulatory agencies that you guys may have visit you if someone reports you. Not just the state board. We don't deal with just the state board, you guys. That's not the only people that we deal with, okay? We're also going to talk about the principles of infection control and different types of pathogens. We're going to lightly touch on that. And then how we actually perform infection control. Okay, and talk also standard precautions. Anybody know what standard precautions are? You heard that before? Anybody heard that word before? Standard precautions, like these are not just things that we do as nail techs. Okay, these are people. The standard precautions are performed in the food industry, also in the medical industry. Okay, and then we will demonstrate some of these practices because we have some things out here. Okay, and there's a reason for these things, so we can, and we're gonna also wash our hands today. We'll see how well you guys wash your hands, and you're gonna be surprised when we do this exercise. I'm always like, how many of y'all think you wash your hands really, really well? You think you wash your hands? Like, I mean, really good. You think you wash your hands really, really well? It's a lie. It's a lie. Okay, it is a lie. You do not wash your hands, and it ain't your fault. Okay. You just are you've never done this this little fun thing that we do. Okay, so and you'll see what I mean. Okay, it's one of those things that will open your eyes to how you really don't wash your hands very well. None of us do. All right, so what is infection control? First of all, there's levels to this. Okay, and there's 4. First one being cleaning. The second one being sanitizing, okay? Then disinfection, and then sterilizing, okay? Because we all clean our house, right? You go around, you sweep your floor. It's clean to you, right? You cleaned it. Maybe you mopped it, okay? That's clean to you. But would you lick that floor? But it's clean though. It's clean. What would you have to do to that floor for you to feel safe enough to lick it? Well, I mean, that's because we know what we do on that floor. We know where that floor been. But wait a minute. I beg to differ, because your dentist uses the same implements on you that they used on the other person that just left. You don't have a problem with that, do you? Why? What? No, not cleaned it. Not even just sanitized. They did the very top tier, and that is sterilized. Okay, so let's talk about these levels, because the levels are very important. Okay, the first level, cleaning. What is it? What does cleaning entail? What is it that we're doing when we're just cleaning something? Just removing the debris, removing the visible dirt, okay? So this is a mechanical process, all right, that we use soap and water to remove all visible dirt and debris, okay? And a lot of disease-causing germs can be removed from just cleaning with soap and water. What kind of soap do we need to use if we're going to be trying to get rid of germs? You said it? Antibacterial soap. All right, we need to be using antibacterial soap. Very important. Now, the next level, which this one is often confused with disinfecting. Sanitizing and disinfecting are 2 different things. 2 different levels. It's the reason why, sanitizing is below disinfection. What is sanitizing? Anybody know? You guys, because y'all sanitize your hands, don't you? And you feel safe. You feel good about yourself, don't you? Not after. Today is going to open your eyes to the way you clean things and how you disinfect things, and or at least how you think about this whole process, okay? Sanitizing is the chemical process of reducing the number of organisms and germs that are cleaned on a surface to a safe level, okay? And when we say safe level, we do not mean germs are completely gone, okay? So let's look at it like this. How many of you guys have been at a restaurant, right? Because they sell the little that you can connect it to your key ring at Bath and Body Works, right? The little sanitizer, and you be like, "Oop, Here you go, and you've done it to your friends, or maybe you got one of them friends or you are that friend that's like, hey girl, here's some hand sanitizer before we eat, okay? First of all, in order to sanitize your hands properly, you cannot skip the first step. See, our grandmamas and our mamas wasn't wrong when they're like, go wash your little nasty hands before you sit at my dinner table, right? Go wash your hands before you eat. That's the first step. But a lot of people, they go to the restaurant and they just are like, let me sanitize your hands. And all you're doing, imagine this. You got dirt all over your hands, just dirt. Well, I usually say doo-doo, right? You got a baby, right? You changed their diaper and you got a little poo on your hands. Okay, so you didn't wash them. You go sit down. Now you're sitting at the dinner table or at the restaurant at Olive Garden and you just put a little hand sanitizer on there and you just rub it in. Well, what happened to the poo-poo? It's just, you just smearing it everywhere. You're not really getting rid of anything, right? So hand sanitizer is one of the most, the biggest gimmicks out there. Right? It is giving you a false idea that your hands are clean, and they're not even clean. They're definitely not sanitized. You just smear dirt around. So you must do one each step before you go to the next. Okay? So now, if you went and washed your hands and got all the poo off of your hands, you still may have some residual germs left on your hands. Maybe, hopefully you use antibacterial soap, but nobody does that. They got the Bath and Body Works lemon scent or the, champagne toast. It smells good, don't it? The champagne toasts on their sinks. So you just really cleaned it. You didn't kill any germs. So then the next thing you would do after using antibacterial soap, you could sanitize your hands, and then you just did one more level of of infection control. And by killing some, not all, some of the germs off of your hands, okay? So, bless you. All right. Now, the next level is what? It's right on the screen. Disinfecting. Now, disinfecting is what we should be doing, the level that we should at least be going to in the nail salon. Okay? And what is disinfecting? How far are we going when we're disinfecting? We're on that third level. There's still one more level, right? But disinfecting is going to be your chemical process where we are removing germs and harmful viruses and all of those things off of non-porous items. What do I mean by non-porous, y'all? Something that can be reused. Can we disinfect files and buffers? Okay, because I got an inbox the other day, the young lady, I don't know if I told you the story, she was like, I'm going to this school, she's paying big bucks too, and they gave her a big pack of files, because that comes with a kit when you go into school with paying $20,000, right? So they gave her a big pack of files, but is 20 files enough to do 50, 70 manicures? No. On humans? Absolutely not. So what did they tell her to do with her files? Wash them. Disinfect them. Can you disinfect a file? We've already established that. Why is that? They are porous. They absorb everything. Okay? Everything. So, non-porous items can be disinfected and it's going to kill everything. Okay? If done properly. Now, when I say everything, I mean everything except spores. Okay? And we'll get to that in a minute. All right? This is something that can be achieved in the salon very easily. All right. Now, the next level is going to be what? The very last, highest level of infection control. Sterilization. Okay. Sterilization. If I tell you And you might hear this like even with like women who can't have children. They'll say, oh, she's sterile. Right? What does that mean? She cannot by any means get pregnant, right? There's no way, all right? So if something is sterile, this is the process in which it has no life, nothing can live on it, or nothing can survive it, okay? And how do we sterilize something? There's only one way. Autoclave. And what is we have one in the back, okay? What is an autoclave? Is it the lights, the heat? Oh, see, she said two different things. The lights and the heat. Okay. The UV lights? That's very interesting you said that. Will you go get the UV box? I forgot to bring it out. So Arumi from Statesboro said light, UV light box, right? And then she also said heat, okay? Now, Shayla's about to go get what she's talking about so that we can very, very, very quickly tell Arumi from Statesboro how wrong she is. And it's not her fault because they sell these things in the nail supplies. You see them in the nail salons, and they are a night light for the night workers, the nail night workers that work at night at the nail salon. That's all it is, okay? She's talking about this. Okay? This is what you're talking about, right? This, we have one, and it's for purposes of teaching, all right? This UV, they call it a UV sterilizer, right? So when you plug this up, it lets off this UV light, this purple light, right? Let me see if I can turn it on. Boom, right? And it says on there, doesn't it? I can't read it. Sterilizer, doesn't it? This is a lie. Do not buy it. Do not waste your money. It's only $50 or something like that anyway. But spend it on glitter, on gel polish. Don't buy this. If UV light could kill germs, then when you get a sore throat, all you're going to do is walk outside during the daylight and do like this. Right? Wouldn't you? Is that not the premise that we have here? Is that the case? Can we do that? Okay. UV light is not going to sterilize anything. If that's the case, every time you go to the beach and you lay out in the sun, get you a little tan, you are sterile now, completely clean. You don't even have to take a shower after you leave the beach, right? Just rinse off a little bit, get the dirt. That's it. This is a lie. This is a big lie. Do not buy these. This is not a sterilizer. I don't care what it says on the front of it. Okay? Don't buy them. Now, an autoclave, which I don't know why I didn't think to bring it out, but it's too heavy to move. We'll let you guys go see it. An autoclave, because this actually only emits light. It does not emit heat. Okay? So like I said, it's just a gimmick. An autoclave, and some of you may have seen one before, like in your dentist's office, in your doctor's offices. If you ever worked in a hospital, they've got autoclaves that are big enough for you to drive a Cadillac into, because they have to sterilize these beds that they do surgeries on. Okay, once the client, a patient has been worked on to kill all, and nothing living can survive it. What do you think causes everything to die? You said it, but you said it for the wrong thing. Heat, okay? An autoclave emits high heat under pressure, okay? They're very expensive. The one that we have was about $7,000, and it's not big at all, okay? You can get them for personal use where you can fit maybe just 1 or 2 or 3 implements at a time in there, desktop, for about $500, $600, okay? but the one we have is big enough for a school or maybe even a small dentist office, all right? You put your implements inside of those autoclaves and you close it up. It's like a pressure cooker. Anybody ever cooked with a pressure cooker before? You know, don't you open it while it's cooking. What'll happen? Boom. Okay? So you've got to make sure that, you know, you know how to use that thing. And we teach and certify you how to use it in the A&T course. Because when you're working with clients that need medical type care from a nail technician, you've got to use sterile implements. Sterile, not just disinfected, okay? So everybody understand the levels. Okay. Now, again, we are only required in the nail salon to disinfect. You do not have to have an autoclave. However, when you see an autoclave in someone's nail salon, hopefully they're using it. Unfortunately, they are using the pouches. Where are our pouches?
In the drawer where you rearrange.
Will you slide and look and see if you can find one? Well, then there's probably one of them.
In the other side.
It's in this other side. Let me look. Let me look. Oh, you're right. Okay. So the pouches. What am I talking about when I'm talking about those pouches? The blue pouches. I don't even know if I can get it out because I got to move this thing before I do it. There we go. I'm going to grab one. It's just so ghetto. I got it. Boom. The pouches. Okay. So let's talk about these pouches real quick because the pouches,
So if they pull one of those out, you pretty much know.
9 times out of 10, if they pull one out, what you need to do is ask to see it. There's nothing wrong with that. And you need to look for these things.
Right.
You need to look and see. First of all, what did I just say? The 3 things that you need to look for. Was there a buffer or a file in there? Any porous item in there? If there is, they're lying. They're misleading you. If it's the indicator has not changed, if they're using nice ones like this, they're misleading you. And maybe they did disinfect it, but why are you misleading me to think? Because I'm a medical professional in my previous life. If you pull this out, you're telling me that you sterilized it. So why are you lying, sis? Why are you lying to me? You want me to think that you're doing something that you're not doing. And a lot of nail technicians just don't know. And they're like, oh, well, I just put my implements in there after I disinfect them. Why? You can put them in a box that says disinfected, clean implements or whatever. And that's enough, especially for state board, because that's all they are. They're not sterilized. Don't be lying to me, okay? When I see this in the doctor's office, I know when they pull out that and they're about to work on my teeth, I know that it's been sterilized. You know it. You can see it. And now you know what to look for. Okay? All right. Oh, yeah. Another one, Chris said you cannot put plastic manicure brushes in here either. So if you see those, you know that has not been sterilized. All right? Moving right along. Y'all got all that? Because that's very important. Now, there's different federal agencies that you guys will run into, okay? Let me turn this off because they're saying they can't hear and I ain't trying to hear it. All right, so there's different agencies that you guys may run into, and that is OSHA, okay, and the EPA. Who is OSHA? Who is OSHA? What does it stand for? Anybody ever heard of OSHA? Y'all all done worked. Y'all all done worked, had a job before. Hopefully. Right? I don't know. Otherwise, I'm like, what y'all got? OnlyFans? How y'all paying for school? Y'all all done worked. So who is OSHA? What does it stand for? It's the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Okay? Occupational Safety Health Administration. If you have an occupation That means you have a job, right? So these people address the issues relating to handling, mixing, storing, and disposing of products that we use in the workplace. Okay? So for instance, I tell you guys all the time, please do not throw this acetone, these chemicals down the sink. That's like a OSHA violation, right? These things have to be disposed of properly. How do we dispose of chemicals in the nail salon? We just throw them outside on the grass? We want to put it in a paper towel, absorb it, or let it evaporate, and then throw that into the trash can, okay? So, the OSHA also requires you, when you have certain chemicals, and you guys may have never even noticed this, but when you buy certain chemicals, you can get what's known as a safety data sheet. What is a safety data sheet? Safety data sheet shows and tells a lot of information about that chemical. So for instance, and you may have to download these forms on these different chemicals websites, but the safety data sheet will have on it, if it gets in your eyes, this is what you need to do. If you get it on your skin, this is what you need to do. Or this chemical has the ingredients, it has so much information on it. Okay, and a lot of nail products will also provide the safety data sheets. They may not give it to you in the product when you buy it in your bag, like when you go home with it, but they'll definitely have it on their website in most cases. Okay, now who's the EPA? EPA? There you go. EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. So let's break that word down. Who do they protect? Environment. There you go. There you go. Y'all talk to me now. The environment. So they protect the environment. So with that being said, these disinfectants and chemicals and stuff like that, like I told you, you can't just throw this stuff out on the grass. All right. If you do, please, because we're getting new grass soon, y'all. Y'all see the front? We getting new grass. We got trees out there. We want them to survive. We want them to thrive. We want them to live. So we don't throw that stuff out there. Okay. And the EPA also, and you probably never noticed this either. Is my sound good? You probably never noticed this either. On every single one of these chemicals that we have up here. Oh, it's working. I don't know why they keep saying there's no sound. Y'all gonna stop messing with me. I think they trolling me. There's an EPA registration number. Okay? EPA Clorox has one. Every single one of these chemicals, Lysol has one. They're all on that can. I know y'all probably never know because you ain't never read the instructions on what, when you washing your clothes, you just be like, don't you? You know there's instructions on here. She said, You know that when your granny put that cap full of bleach in your bath water? You know they say you ain't supposed to do that on here, but you know. They don't care. Matter of fact, they say it's actually good for you to do that like every now and then. Kills all the germs, but I don't know. Might kill some other things too. Just don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. But the EPA registration number, that's very important. Why do we need an EPA registration number? If you don't have an EPA registration, for instance, y'all ever go to the flea market? I love the flea market. Go to the flea market and you go to the table where the lady's selling all the like Clorox and the Lysol and the bleach and all that stuff, right? You look on there and sometimes you can kind of, maybe Clorox don't have no ox on the end. Or maybe it's Lysol, but it's spelled with an A, it's Lylysal or something. Like, you like, oh, this is Fugazi. She got this from Temu, right? So, welcome. Grab a book. You want to make sure that your stuff is not, again, Temu Clorox, because Who you gonna sue when you get a, you know, something bad happens, you know, or you want to make sure that this stuff is legit products, okay? And if it doesn't have an EPA registration number, it probably is not. All right, everybody got that? Okay. Now, state regulatory agencies. Who do we answer to that is the state regulatory agency? The state board. The state board, okay? The state board, okay? And every state has a state board, okay? And they all have different rules and regulations, right? But one of the things that I believe is the same across the board, okay, is their sanitation regulations, okay? Now, it is a fine. It is a big fine if you don't follow these state board rules and regulations when it comes to sanitizing and disinfecting. But at the end of the day, I could care less about what the state board says when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't want to get sued. I don't want to be the reason why my client gets sick. I don't want to be the reason why I get sick. Okay? So as far as, you know, like I said, disinfecting and sanitizing and sterilization, all of this stuff, I mean, I can tell by looking at a nail tech 9 times out of 10 if I would eat out at their house. I'm going to eat their food. You know, the way their desk is. And it's just, you know, or if they clean in general. Dirty girl. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, there are differences between rules and laws, right? Rules can be broken, right? Isn't that what they say? Laws cannot. You break a law, you're going to jail, or you're going to get a, you know, some type of punishment with either federal or state, right? Rules are a little bit different. Like I tell you guys, you know, y'all got to go on my YouTube, y'all. I was going back and forth with a Russian lady from last week, going back and forth. And I finally had to tell her, I was like, listen, I don't care what you do in Russia at all. What you do in Russia don't have nothing to do with what we doing over here in the USA. If you want to do Russian manicures, you go ahead. But we are not allowed to do it. It is against our scope of, and our state board states that we are not allowed to perform them. Okay? She's like, well, if the cuticle is dead, what is the problem? I was like, you need to watch the video. We're not cutting cuticles when we're doing Russian manicures. What are we cutting, y'all? The PNF, which is dead or alive? Alive. Okay, so I just finally said, let me let this Russian lady live before I have to bring out my translator and say it in her language. That's what I wanted to say, but I'm trying to be professional. All right, so the principles of infection control. All right, so being a beauty professional is, you know, it's a great responsibility, y'all. So one careless action when it comes to infection control can, like I said, get you sued or cause your client to be sick or you to be sick. All right, so I want my clients to, I just told y'all about my friend, City Escape Spa. I've never been to her salon. I need to go down there when I go to Atlanta. You met her, Evie. But I already know when I go in there, I know it's gonna be medical grade clean. Okay, and that's the reason why she's the top salon in her city every year. People will seek you out based on how clean you are. Guarantee you go to a restaurant and they're nasty and dirty, you don't want to eat there anymore. Y'all, you know those what are they called? Those inspection reports that they have to put so everybody can see. You know, you go to the Crystals on Washington Road, got a 78, and you're like, I don't know if that's their actual, but they should, because they're nasty over there. They got nasty attitudes. I know the inside nasty. But if they got a low grade, you might seek out another Crystals, right? You're like, I'm not gonna eat here. They dirty. Okay. Now we don't get graded like the food service people. we get graded based on our state board inspections, okay? And once they come, when they come one time and your inspection is, you know, you got stuff, you know, marked on your paper that you had this dirty implement or dirty this or dirty that, they're going to come back and re-inspect, okay? And so you've got to put that paperwork out for everyone to see that you got, you know, $1,000 worth of fines or $1,500 worth of fines. And that's embarrassing. Very embarrassing, okay? So, for my nail technician back there that is working at the nail salon. Have you seen one of those at your salon? Because I know they done got some violations.
Not yet, but she was saying that this weekend she think they're gonna come. So she preparing.
I wonder why. Well, does she not have her state board violation paper posted for you to see, the whole all the clients to see when they walk in? She better put that out before the weekend. Let her know that she needs to put that out before the weekend, because when they get there and she doesn't have it out, the last inspection has to be posted for everyone to see. So I would do that. Not that you're going to get in trouble, because you're just the receptionist right now. But I mean, if you care. All right. So how do we transmit infections? How do we give these to people? There's different ways. All right. 3 different ways. Number 1, direct transmission. What is direct transmission? Skin to skin, hand to hand, finger to finger, toe to finger, mouth to mouth. Okay, that's direct, from person to person, like shaking hands or doing a client's nails. Indirect transmission is from human to, say, the doorknob, or human to, meaning hand to implement, hand to table, hand to lamp, hand to phone. And you know your clients want to be on their phone. Hell, you want to be on your phone the whole time you're doing nails. All right. So the last mode of transmission is going to be your airborne transmission, respiratory droplets, meaning like COVID, sneezing, breathing on your client. When you're talking, spit flying on your client. You know, have y'all ever had that? That is so, oof. You be like, say it, don't spray it. Okay. So, we want to try to avoid all of these different modes of transmission. Okay. One of the things that we don't consider wiping down that everybody touches is the doorknob, the door handle. I am one of those people, and this is how I know that I am a nail instructor or an instructor that teaches this stuff on a day. If I go to a public bathroom, I fold my hands when I open the door. I use my ass. That's what this flat booty is good for, opening doors. That's about it. Okay? When I come out of the bathroom, after washing my hands, I can tell a restaurant that has good infection control procedures. They usually have a trash can where? Right by the door. Because you should be washing your hands, drying them off. Don't throw the paper towel away. Open the door with the paper towel in your hand. Use your booty to hold it open, and then throw the trash in the trash can by the door. Otherwise, I'll throw the trash on the floor outside. No, I'm just kidding. Or wait for somebody to open the door, right? Sometimes they don't even have paper towels. Don't talk about us, because we ain't got none in the paper towel holder right now. Don't talk about me. All right. But these are the different modes of transmission. Everybody know those now. The 3 different ways. All right. Now, product labeling is very important. Okay. All of these products have a label on them. They have to, right? And on the label, it's going to have some kind of promise on it, doesn't it? What does this one have on it? Kills 99.9 of germs, but it got a little asterisk on it. What do you think that asterisk means? That means there's a little note here somewhere that says, but.
Where your glasses at, man?
I got my contacts in. The asterisk is usually going to say, kills 99.9% of germs. And then it'll say, if used properly. If used the way we tell you to use it. And we done already determined that you ain't using it the way it's supposed to be used. Right? I know you don't. Okay, when we mix these cleaners, when you take your, look, Mr. Clean, he says kills 99.9% of bacteria, asterisk. It's everywhere, right? And in the asterisk here, I can read it on this one because it's a little bit bigger. It says, what'd you say?
Oh, it says, call Poison Control Center or doctor for treatment. Do not give anything by mouth to an unconscious person.
This
Product
one got 3 different asterisks on it. Okay, but one of the main things that you need to know is the very first thing when you read the directions for use on this thing. The first thing it's going to say. What does it say for your directions? Let me tell you what it says for mine. Directions for use. The first thing. It is a violation of federal law to use this product in a manner inconsistent with its labeling. So for all of y'all that are out here putting Fabuloso in a pot on top of your stove so you can make y'all, all us Hispanics do that. I know that. Well, it smells so good, it's poison in your lungs. Please don't put Fabuloso on a pot and turn it on low.
Always dilute.
Not always dilute. Okay. So it's a federal violation. You might go to jail if you put this on the pot. I don't know. I'm just joking. But I don't know. You might. All right. But there are instructions on here. And it says it will kill 99.9% of germs if used properly. Okay. The way it by the directions. So it says mix 1/4 a cup per gallon in a half bucket of water. Okay. Or in a bucket of water. Usually no need to rinse. And it will tell you all of the directions. And there's different directions for different uses. For instance, with Lysol, and I wouldn't even want y'all to try to read the instructions on the back of this Lysol can. How do y'all use this Lysol can? What do you do? What do? You just spray it, right? How much? You just spray it. You even spray it in the air, don't you? After you, number 2, don't you? For the smell, right? That ain't what the hell you're supposed to do. This ain't, is it disinfecting the air, right? Right? I mean, there is a use for it, for that. But there's 3 different, well, more than 3. It says to sanitize, do this. To disinfect, do this. To sanitize and disinfect soft surfaces, meaning like your couch or your, your love seat. To control mold or prevent mildew, do this. But one thing I want you guys to know is that all of you are doing it wrong, no matter how you're doing it and no matter what you're doing, because you didn't read the instructions. Did you know that in order to sanitize disinfect your toilet, let's just say you're cleaning your bathroom, right? What do you have to do first? Got to clean it. And it says it on here. Clean, remove debris off of the surface. Okay. Now, once you clean your toilet, get all the little pee spots from your little brother, your husband, or whatever off of there. Little poop spots from, you know what I'm talking about. You got boys. Get it off of there. You cleaned it. Now you want to disinfect it. What do? You just sprayed it, didn't you? You just went. You just sprayed a little bit on there, didn't you? Just a little, because you don't want to waste this can. It's like $14. How much is this expensive?
Like
$10, $12 for this can. What if I told you that it says on the back of this can that you are supposed to spray enough of this spray, this misty spray, onto the surface, enough for it to be wet for 10 minutes? See? Can't even use your bathroom. She like, what? Yes, ma'am. And I'm saying that because I can't read this small writing. I know what it says. I've read it before. Okay. To disinfect, surfaces must remain wet. Now this one, 10 minutes is for for barbicide. For this, it says surfaces must remain wet for 3 minutes, then allowed to air dry. You've got to put enough of this so that you got a puddle for 3 minutes. Who's standing there and timing it, first of all? Not many people, all right? Not me. I don't even buy this anymore because I know that I'm going to use half of this can just cleaning my bathroom one time, okay? It's not, this is already been diluted and mixed to the way it's supposed to be for use, okay? Now, let me not get ahead of myself. Product labeling, these efficacy claims. Efficacy, what does that mean? What does the word efficacy mean? How efficient something is. That's what it means. How efficient something is. So efficacy claims is that 99.9% of bacteria and viruses that it kills. Now, you want to look for, when you are buying disinfecting products, you want to look for certain words. Bactericidal, virucidal, fungicidal. Okay? What does the word cidal mean? Let's just say you're homicidal. All right? Y'all about to make me homicidal. Y'all keep coming in here an hour late. Spank your booty.
I'd rather that than not show up.
I know. I'd rather you come than not show up at all. What does cidal mean? To
Kill.
right. To unalive. All right? So that means bactericidal, virucidal, fungicidal. It kills all of those fungus, bacteria, and viruses. Okay? Now, got to have that EPA registration number, and mixing is very important. So we already said that this Lysol is already pre-mixed, right? This is pre-mixed. What about this? This is not, if you read it, it says you got to dilute it, right? So you got to mix it, and it said 1/4 of a cup to a half a gallon. Okay. Now, we don't really use these products. You can use Lysol in the nail salon. Absolutely. You can. You can even use bleach in the nail salon, but we'll get to why you don't want to use bleach, okay, in a second. But let's talk about barbicide, because barbicide is the thing that we use in the salon the most. This is a big old jug, okay? Barbicide. When we're using barbicide, there's mixing instructions here. And a lot of times I see this so much. People will just take it and they'll just splash the barbicide, just say like, oh, well, I can kind of see what color. It just needs to be blue. Y'all seen that blue water in the nail salon when they have it in the brushes just kind of laying in there, blah, blah, blah. First of all disinfectants you should not be touching with your bare hands, okay? You shouldn't be touching it at all with your bare hands. So when you see those brushes laying inside, those nylon brushes they tell you wash your hands inside that blue water, first thing they do tell you go wash your hands, and then what do? Pull one out of that blue water, which is supposed to be this, right? So you're washing your hands with a disinfectant that is not supposed to be on your hands at all, okay? You shouldn't be touching it. Even when mixing this, you should be wearing gloves. It's a disinfectant. It's it's not good for your skin, okay? Now, how do we mix barbicide? Does anybody know the exact measurements for barbicide? Oh, that's not right. She said 2 to 1.
2 ounces to 32 ounces?
32 ounces to every 2 ounces of 32 ounces of water to 2 ounces of barbicide. So I like to mix it in these containers, right? If you mix it in a container like this, which this container is 32 ounces, all right? So here's the issue. This is where the problem comes in. you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna put 2 ounces, because you take like a, a shot glass is an ounce, but you can take an actual measuring measuring cup, which I forgot to bring. Will you bring one of those cups that's in the sink? A measuring cup, all right? A measuring cup, you can put the ounces on there. So you will put 2 ounces and you'll measure it out, right? You're gonna measure out 2 ounces of the barbicide, put it in there, and then you pour it in one of these empty things, right? Then you're like, okay, well, 32 ounces, now I just got to fill that up to the top. Is that correct? No. Why is this? Do simple math here. Why is that not correct?
It's not all.
Right, because technically you should have filled this up with water and then added 2 ounces of barbicide to something else, a bigger container, because it's not going to fit. We need 34 ounces total. This is 32 ounces, okay? If you do not measure barbicide precisely, you just wasted it. It's a waste. It's not going to do what its efficacy is now 0%. It's not going to do. You just got too much water. It's not going to, or you have too much barbicide and not enough water. It has to be mixed properly. And this is where nail techs mess up, okay? Now, my co-host here said 1 to 16. 1 ounce to 16 ounces. Is that correct? Math. Is that correct? He said 1 ounce to every 16 ounces of water, 1 ounce of barbicide. Yeah, it is. That's just making it in half. Because you might want to use this container because you don't have another container or funnel. So you're like, all right, but I do have this. So I'm going to do 1 ounce, whoop, and then I'm going to measure 16 ounces, boop. And now I got a half a bottle of barbicide, which is better than overflowed and not perfect and then having too much, okay? So I recommend that you make your barbicide in batches, okay? Meaning if you got a big empty gallon jug like this, mix your barbicide, go ahead, put 2 ounces, because this is like, a gallon is like 64 ounces, twice that, right? So you can go ahead and pre-mix it so that way when this gets empty, you can refill it, okay? And plus you're gonna need a lot of barbicide mixture in order to clean your implements. We're going to demonstrate that today, okay? So you're going to want to have you some mixing cups, something that shows 1 ounce, 2 ounce, things of that nature. Now, how would we, if we wanted to make a big batch, what would be the math if we were saying, okay, I want to make a triple batch? I'm asking y'all because I ain't got my calculator in front of me. Y'all got y'all phones in front of you. If I want to make a triple batch, okay, meaning 3 ounces of barbicide, because we just said 1 ounce to 16 ounces, right? 2 ounce to 32 ounces, right? What's 3 and then add another 16 to it, to the 32. 32 plus 16. I was about to say, I got to have a calculator in front of me. I'm asking y'all so I don't look stupid on the internet. 3 to what? 48, right? So if I wanted to make a triple batch, it would be 3 ounces to 48 ounces of water, all right? Because we're going to have to make a big batch today in order to have enough to clean our and disinfect our implements, okay? Very good. Thank y'all, co-hosts. They said 48. Thank you. The first 48. All right. So moving right along. All right, so we already talked about how you can prevent these things. Preventing transmission of infection. We're going to disinfect our implements, obviously. But how about washing our hands, right? Having our clients wash their hands. We don't know what they have or what they've been touching or what they, have gone through that morning. Also at state board, y'all need to remember that all they care about is sanitization, sanitization, sanitization. That's all they care about. They don't care how beautiful your nail looks. They don't care about if you did a A1 job on your blending. That part, you can practically fail that entire section as far as how it looks. But if you don't sanitize your hands, or if you touch your face and then you go back to work and you scratch your nose and you don't sanitize your hands and they don't see you do it, you're going to fail that section. Okay? So, and this is because they want you to be doing this stuff, practicing this stuff in real life. Okay? So these personal habits are very important. Now, before we move on into actually doing the, mixing and all that good stuff, let's talk about the different types of pathogens that are out there. Okay? You've got contagious / communicable. They both mean the same thing. If something is contagious or communicable, what do I mean? What does that mean? You can spread it easily from person to person, okay? So community, you can pass things out in the community, meaning it's very easy to pass them, meaning, or contagious. They're both the same, basically the same word, all right? And we've already talked about how you can prevent these, but what are some of the things that are very easy to pass along? Like when y'all got, any of y'all got kids in here? Yep, y'all got kids. So when your kids, when they sick, what do you do with them? Let them go to school?
Nope.
You let them go to the daycare, don't you? Your kid, that little snotty-nosed kid running around, you like, "Rrr." It's so easy to pass along that little booger nose cold these kids pass on because, they lick glass. The kids don't know. They want to, your babies, when they're little, they licking the bottom of their shoes, putting their feet in their mouth. They don't know, right? But a lot of parents, they try to protect their kids from these things, and then they end up putting their kids in a bubble, and then they grow up and they get sick every day time something comes out. You need to be exposed to some of these germs so that we can, have a nice immunity to them. All right. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. But some of the things that are very highly contagious, the cold, common cold, ringworm, very contagious. Anybody ever had a ringworm?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we used to get a ringworm every summer. And then that's right. Y'all don't play in dirt no more. Y'all play on computers and stuff. But back in the day when you actually went outside and played, you would catch a ringworm in a heartbeat. Some of y'all lying. Y'all done had ringworm. Y'all lying. We all done had a ringworm. And then you got a brother or a sister, and they're like, "What is this?" And they're scratching it because it itches. And then you go and you messing with your little brother. Next thing you know, they got a ringworm too, right? And how did you get rid of a ringworm? That mama used to put something on it. You gotta leave it alone. Yeah. But there's some way they put up something like it had to dry out, right? But anyway, pink eye, very contagious. Everybody had pink eye. I thought I had pink eye the other day, but I really just poked myself in the eye. I was like, do I got pink eye or did I poke myself in the eye? Pink eye, very contagious. Okay, these are all infections, viral infections that need some type of antibiotic to get rid of, or they got to run their course. Okay, you can't. It's nothing that you can really do. You just get it and you got to wait for it to go away, right? Now, different types of pathogens that you might hear about on your state board. You got bacteria, obviously, virus, fungi, however you want to pronounce it. Parasites. Ew, what are parasites? What's an example of a parasite? We mentioned it in this course, but hairstylists have to deal with them a lot. Lice. Ew. Anybody ever ran into somebody who had lice, like when you were in middle school, elementary school, with some little dirty kid that had lice?
Yeah, no.
Now let me just tell you, you think it's the little dirty kids that have the lice.
It's a rich white kid.
We gonna excuse Mara, but she said it. I didn't. But it's usually the clean kids that have the lice, because lice can't live on, you're not gonna, let's just put it like this. Most people of color who have curly hair, or people who have to put oils in their hair to keep them from being frizzy or maybe dry, lice don't like that, because they can't hold on to the hair to be slipping down. Help me. They like clean hair that they can latch on to. I had lice when I was a little kid, caught it from the little kid next to me when I was in daycare. I'll never forget it, because I had long, thick, curly hair when I was a little girl. And my mama had to go to the pharmacy and get that little lice comb. Y'all ever seen the lice comb? It's got you can't even see, the bristles are so tight, you can't even see between them. And the lice comb had a little magnet on it too. So when you comb the hair, you could look to see, or you could look to see if there was lice, and then you would comb it, and it was, I screamed and screamed and screamed. Wow, mom, bless you, bless you, bless you. While my mama tried to get that lice out of me. But we wasn't dirty kids. Guarantee you we wasn't dirty, but we caught that lice. Them things jump from head to head. And they can jump, okay? So, parasites. And then also biofilms. We deal with biofilms a lot, especially with pedicure chairs, okay? Biofilms. We'll get to what they are in a minute. So these are words that you may need to know. Again, for state board purposes and real life, okay? Something is contaminated. What does that mean? Contamination. What does that mean? If it's contaminated. And that's good. It's the presence or reasonable anticipated presence of either blood, infectious materials, on an item's surface, or visible debris residue like dust, dirt, or hair. Okay? And what gets contaminated in our profession? Our implements, our tables. What about products that we use? Literally everything. Okay? So for instance, when you guys are applying cuticle remover, because I know when I gave you your kits, right, you had it in a little bottle with that you have to dip a Q-tip in. But in real life, ain't nobody using that, right? You're using the cuticle remover in a bottle that you have that has a little tip, just like those alcohol containers sitting over there next to Khadijah, right? And you're gonna, and then you squeeze it. Well, what do they normally do when you go to the nail salon and get a pedicure? They just squeeze it and rub it across all 10 of your little piggies, don't they? Just rub it. The tip of it touched all 10 of your little toes. Did they sanitize or disinfect that? They didn't even wipe it with a disinfectant wipe, did they? So it's just rub it right across everybody else's toes in Augusta, right? So these are things that can easily be contaminated. So having those types of containers, it's okay. But you want to make sure that you are applying the product in a clean, sanitary way. So we would squeeze it and then dab it on the toe. Squeeze it, dab it on the toe so that where it doesn't actually touch the toe. Okay, perfectly fine. Or you can use a Q-tip or whatever, squeeze it on your fingers, rub it in if you're wearing gloves, all kinds of different ways to apply it so that you're not contaminating your products. Okay, what about when we're doing dip manicures? Because you guys haven't done dip yet. Y'all ever thought about that?
The word is like not what it is.
Well, here's the thing, and this is something that people like to argue about, and we'll talk about it more when we get to dip, but they're like, oh, well, nothing can live in acrylic, right? No germ or anything like that can survive in acrylic powder. Listen, I don't care what you say. If you dip your finger in, and let's just say, because some of y'all are, with this argument with the proximal nail fold and cutting and trimming, and your client, maybe they had a hangnail or something, you clip it or whatever, and you dip it in there, the client's actually bleeding. Because this is happening in the nail salons, y'all. You don't know what the nail tech behind you, if you're working in a nail salon with another 15 nail techs, you don't know what they did, or if they were clean, or if they had this course, or if they went to school at all. And they're just clipping the PNF. You got this open wound now. They're dipping it in there. It doesn't matter to me what these people say. I would not want you to stick your finger in my mashed potatoes and then I'm going to eat it. I don't want you to dip your finger in my $20 container of dip powder and then I leave that to my client to possibly get something going on with them either. I'm just not doing it. I don't care. It's unsanitary. Okay, it's unsanitary. So there's different ways to do it. It's sanitary. So call it dip, but I like to do the pour method. But we'll get to that when we get to that chapter, okay? Now, what is decontamination? We decontaminate,
Basically just taking
removing any of the contaminants, right? And that's what we do when we sanitize our table. That's what we do when we remove that debris, dust, hair, and skin. So that's decontamination. What does diagnosis, the word diagnosis, mean? I just diagnosed y'all with y'all can't talk today syndrome.
when you figure out what you have.
Right. You're diagnosing someone. When you diagnose someone, this is the determination of the nature of a disease or what kind of disease a person has. And this is usually done through some type of test. So that's why we don't diagnose nothing. Right. We learned that last week. We do not diagnose. What do we do?
Suggest they go see
Recognize. I like that one. Recognize, refuse, and refer. Right? And you are not, so you learned all these different disorders last week. No, none of you should be telling your client you got onychomycosis or you got onychomyelitis or any of these disorders, right? A Pseudomonas aeruginosa, right? You should not be telling any. First of all, y'all ain't gonna remember none of them by the time you graduate and get your license anyway to be telling them that stuff. Probably not. Only reason I do is because I teach it on a daily basis. All right. But you're going to look at it and go, you might look over at your coworker and go, I'm like, ma'am, I think maybe you should get this looked at by a physician before I work on you because it just doesn't look normal. All right. So we don't diagnose. Please don't diagnose. Now, and the last one, germs. We know what germs are. Boys got germs. That's what Mama always told me. All right. Non-specific synonym for disease-producing organisms. That's what germs are. All right. Occupational diseases are diseases that you can get from where? Or disorders that you get from where?
where you work.
Where you work. And what is one that we can get, y'all? What type of disorder can we develop from our job? And how do we get contact dermatitis usually? From overexposure to these chemicals. And this doesn't just happen to nail techs, y'all. This can happen to anybody who is working in a job that they are exposed to chemicals. Overexposure. Okay, contact dermatitis is something that a lot of different jobs get. A parasitic disease is something that you get, again, like lice or mites. Okay, and then pathogenic diseases, those are going to be diseases produced by organisms that we get from not cleaning our tables. Now, these are, again, words you may see on your state board. Okay, and then what is a toxin? What is a toxin? If something is toxic,
Poison.
some type of, various levels of poison, something that's poisonous, right? And just so you guys know, everything is toxic. Everything in some degree. You can die from drinking too much water. Y'all ever heard of water toxicity? We drink water all the time, but drink too much of it, it's a problem. So too much of anything, or maybe we can even say too little of some things, can be toxic. All right. So toxins, y'all know what the word toxin is. Now, microorganisms can be either pathogenic or non-pathogenic. What does that mean? If something is non-pathogenic, it's still a bacteria. We as women, okay, there's all women in here, as far as I know. Okay. Just saying. We all have bacteria that is good for our bodies, okay, in our lady parts. And if we flush those bacteria away, then we can end up with some problems. Okay, for instance, my mother always, my best friend, this was when I was in high school, middle school, all that, my friend during high school, she stayed with a yeast infection all the time. And I'm like, girl. And what did she do? She used douches, right? And she thought that the douches was going to get rid of those things. No, they were causing it. My mama was always like, never, ever, ever douche. Never. Don't use those. And I'm like, why? But she uses them. She's like, she's a dirty girl. She got the dirty girl problems. And the reason being is because your girly parts, my mama always said, it's a self-cleaning oven. There are bacteria there that are meant to be there to fight off good bacteria, to fight off bad bacteria. And if you wash away the good bacteria, then who's going to fight the bad bacteria? Okay? And so we all, as women, know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? You got to have that pH balance. All right? So, with that being said, bad bacteria, and you know, those dirty boys give us that bad bacteria and some other things too. Maybe it's not the boys. You know, you got to be politically correct these days. All right. But you don't want to get the bad bacteria, because then you end up at the clinic getting some antibiotics. Okay? All right. So, in the salon, we want to prevent all of these, whether they are as far as pathogenic. We want to make sure that we're getting rid of those. All right. And this can be very prevalent in our pedicure spas. Okay. These spa chairs, they're very difficult to clean. I hate this thing. As a matter of fact, whoever wants it can have it for free. Get it out of here. I haven't put it on Facebook yet. Get it out of here. You can have it. Huh?
You said any one of us?
Anybody, take it ASAP. All right? I want it out of here. And not because there's anything wrong with it. I just don't want any more. It's in the way, for one. As you can see, I can't move it. Okay? You can have it for free. Get it out of here. Tell them to bring the thing to take it off, and you can have it. It works. She's okay. She's calling it. You know, you can have it, please. I was gonna put it on Facebook Marketplace, but if you guys want it, you can have it. But the only issue with it, and I'm not saying that it can't be cleaned. It can. It's just one of those things, you have to do it. And you guys don't see nail salons doing it. Now, she's gonna do it properly because she knows how. All right. But what you're supposed to do, and this is a pipeless chair. What does that mean, pipeless chair?
It's not
Because there are pipes that bring the water in, but there's no cycle of water running through it. It's like a sink. Water, clean water in, dirty water out. Okay? With chairs that have pipes, the ones that, it's like a sauna. Y'all ever been in a hot tub? They ever tell you when you go to a hotel, clean it before you get in it, because those jets, that it's dirty water going in and pushing that same dirty water out. So inside that jet in that hot tub is a reservoir of dirty water from the people who, you know, were doing the do in that dirty hot tub the night before you. And the first thing you do is you get in it, fill it with water, turn on the jets, and boop, out come. Next thing you know, you end up pregnant. You don't even know how. I'm just saying. Khadijah thinks I'm funny. Just saying. So, you gotta clean them. All right? So if you're gonna... You all right, Khadijah?
But the thing is, too, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
So, like, if you do go to, like, a place with a jacuzzi, whatever, like, how do you know how much water that tub can hold, so you know how much disinfectant to put in it? Like,
It's a process. It wouldn't it be? You would
Yeah.
have to measure out the water
right.
and bring your barbicide a big amount so that you can filter out. So what I'm saying is this one is a good one. This pedicure chair. All you got to do is clean it with barbicide and leave it on there for 10 minutes because it's just like your kitchen sink.
Yeah.
When you don't have to, flush out your kitchen sink because there's no jets in it. You just clean it with Clorox bleach or you clean it with barbicide because this is a pipeless chair. Again, the only reason I'm getting rid of it is because I want to buy a new one and this one is in the way and I don't want it there anymore. Okay. Perfectly fine. With that being said, the ones that have pipes, you have to measure out your barbicide. Now remember, you got to know what I would do is which I wouldn't even buy one nowadays. So when you guys go buying your pedicure chairs, do not buy those chairs that have jets. Don't. This one has a little magnet thing, and it remind me to give you the magnets. The magnet thing that when you hit the button, it spins the magnet, and you just clean the magnet. That's all. You disinfect the magnet. Okay. The ones with jets, you have to measure out the amount of water and barbicide that is enough to go up high, because if you turn the jets on, the water's going to so you gotta measure it. What I would do is take a permanent marker and mark the line of where the water's supposed to go and then pour in the amount of barbicide, and then you got to turn it on and let it run for 10 minutes through the jets to completely clean it. Number one, they're not doing that at the Motel 6. They're not doing that in the nail salons. They're not even barbicide cleaning them.
When I did work in,
They're not even cleaning them. We have a student here that's working at one of the nicest nail salons in Augusta as a receptionist right now. The story she could tell you. Okay? First of all, they're already expecting the state board win this weekend. They're expecting them. So they probably going to be empty this weekend. Ain't going to be nobody in there working this weekend. Okay? So with that being said, she even told them what to do if the state board shows up. Don't run away. Just sit there. Finish the client. We're going to get the fine anyway. We'll just pay it. Which is that's perfectly fine, but that means they're going to keep coming and keep coming and keep fining y'all. They got the money. They definitely got the money. That's a nice place. Okay? So, with that being said, when they gonna come get that pedicure chair? We'll get it all ready for you and everything. You think he can come get it today? Look, she got your daddy and your husband. I know they got a truck.
I can see if I can get
See if you can come get it today. If not, tomorrow maybe. Yeah. Okay, we want it out of here. I need this space. I need it out of here. Plus, I want to get another one, and I don't want to get another one until we get rid of that. All right. So, ill, gross. Bacterial infections. How do you know when there's one present? You're going to have a few different warning signs. There's going to be inflammation. It's going to be probably pus. And there's something known as a local infection versus a systemic infection. Local means you can see it. It's in one spot. It's usually going to be like a pimple or maybe on a finger. It may be just around what is that called when we have an infection around the perimeter of the nail? Anybody remember from last week? Yep, it's the one with onica, because onica means inflammation, remember? But it was the infected finger, but what was the technical name for it? Paronychia. The paronychia. Y'all gonna see this on your state board. I hope y'all, when you see it, at least like rings a bell for you when you see it on paper. Yeah, I hope so. Yep, that part. All right, and then a systemic infection is something that is going to be inside your body. What's an example of a systemic infection? Anybody ever heard of sepsis? Right? If someone that's like an infection in your bloodstream. That is usually not a good sign when you've got sepsis, and that can be caused from maybe you got a local infection that turned into a full body infection. Little old people that get sepsis, they usually don't make it. Okay, so we want to make sure we don't have any infections at all. All right, we're almost done, y'all. Ew. Here's some different infections that you might see. Staphylococci is one. What is that? What is methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus, also known as MRSA? We have all heard of that. MRSA. MRSA, methicillin resistant. What is something? If something is resistant, what does that mean? Something's resistant. If it's resistant to methicillin, what does that mean? It's not going to work. So that means MRSA is the type of infection that y'all heard of staph infection.
Yep.
Usually these infections that they are not treated with regular antibiotics. Regular antibiotics will not cure it. So you got to have super antibiotics, like super duper ones. And let me tell you, I had a nurse friend when I worked at the ER who kept getting this staph infection. Just kept getting it over and over. He kept getting these usually under his armpits and stuff. We found out it was MRSA. So he ended up having to take an antibiotic, and the one pill cost over $1,000. One pill. I can't remember the name of the antibiotic because none of the other antibiotics worked to kill it. And then when you have an infection like this, MRSA, he had to throw away all his sheets, because what are you gonna do? You can't sterilize your couch. You can't sterilize your sheets. You know, you can only disinfect it probably with they got the bleach and stuff, but you can't sterilize it. It's not gonna kill all of the infections. So he ended up having to buy all new sheets, new clothes, because he kept getting it back and it was not worth it for him. He was like, I'll just buy new shirts, because he kept getting it up and he was like, I don't want to catch it again. All right. And then mycobacteriums. Okay, mycobacteriums are found in soil and water, in dirt and in water. These are going to be when you got dirty water. And how do sometimes you might come to have that problem in your area, right? The water, they tell you, I don't even drink tap water. Do y'all drink tap water? I don't even drink tap water. I tried to drink it the other day. I was like, oh, it tastes funny to me. I've been drinking, bottled water for so long. All right. But mycobacteriums are found in water. Now, here's a rule that you guys probably didn't even know about when it comes to pedicures. The state board requires that if your client has shaved their legs within 24 hours of their pedicure, you should not do it. Where's my, there it is, right there. Let me grab it. This is a state board sign. This is a sign that has to be posted in your salon. This is a requirement. If it's not posted, you're going to get a fine. Is this posted at the salon? No. Okay. What does this say? Okay. This is found on the state board website. You download it, print it, put it on the wall, tack it up there, put it in a frame, whatever you want. But it says, cosmetology salon shop reception area sign. It says A, cosmetology laws, rules, and regulations are available upon request. They need to be posted, or they need to be in a drawer that the receptionist can give it to them and say, hey, if I say, where are your rules and regulations? I want to see them. Where are ours hanging? In the hallway, right there in the hallway, on the pegboard, not the pegboard, the court board back there. The state board, y'all want to know the rules and stuff that'll get you fined or get you your salon closed? They're hanging right there. And every salon is supposed to have them posted so that anybody who wants to see them can see them. What about that? Do they got that posted over there at that beautiful place?
They have some of them posted. It just said somebody licensed, and then I was reading date, and it said 2022.
Girl, no, not 2022. Okay. It also says all cosmetology services shall only be performed on intact, healthy scalp, skin, and nails. We learned that last week, right? We do not work on anything. And then the last thing that it says is customers should not shave their legs the same day as receiving pedicure services to reduce the risk of infection. This is the reason why when I said these chairs, they must be, please let them be pipeless, because if there's dirty water in that jet, you're possibly could give your client an infection, not just with if they've had shaved their legs, but if for some reason they've got an open wound on their leg or feet or toes, right? And this is a state board rule. This is, and so what do we do if our client, because y'all do it, I know I do it, I don't want nobody doing a pedicure on me and I got the prickly pear legs, right? So you're like, oh, let me shave my legs. They're not doing you a favor. So what do you have to do instead? We're just gonna do a waterless pedicure on you. That's if you're doing, again, y'all, just let me just, like I said, have said this before, this is school. This is like when you was living at home with your mama. You can do what you want when you leave here, boo-boo. You can come in at 2 a.m. You can stay sleep in the bed with your boyfriend. Y'all ain't married. You can do whatever you want. But when you in this house, you're going to do what I say and what the state board says, because I have to teach you this stuff, okay? So again, if you want to take the risk of maybe your co-worker, maybe they cleaned the pedicure bowl, you don't know. But I can tell you this, if you're working at the place she works at, they didn't. So maybe they cleaned it, and now your client showed up and her legs are nice and waxed. She just went and got a wax. Pores wide open. She got little blood spots from where they done yanked the hair out. And then y'all get waxed? Yeah, they do that. And then you end up giving her a staph infection. Next thing you know, 6 months later, you heard she ain't here no more. She unalived. And it was your fault, and you didn't know it, and she didn't know it either. Only God knows. I'm not taking that risk. Not on my conscience. But again, you do what you want when you get grown, when you got your own license to risk, okay? So now everybody understand why. There's a reason behind all this stuff, okay? Now, viruses, y'all remember during COVID, they were like, you know, when you get it, when you catch it, then you got to be at home for, how many days was it you couldn't leave home? 14 days, 2 weeks, and then after that, you still had like a little period that they didn't want you to, like, people were scared to come around you, even after 2 weeks, right? So there's words for that. So when you catch a virus, that virus lives in your body for a certain, stays there actually, until it is cured. So containment is, or incubation and containment is, these viruses, they usually live in your body for a certain amount of time or forever. What's a virus that lives in your body forever? Unless you're Magic Johnson. HIV. All right. AIDS. HIV and AIDS are two different things. All right. What about herpes? That's the gift that keeps on giving. Lives forever. Okay. Now COVID and stuff like that, those are viruses that, you know, they live in your body and then they eventually die. Okay. Now containment is achieved when you stay at home and you get well, all right, and then the virus sheds, and then you still have it living in your body for a little bit longer, and then you're technically free of the disease. So this is an example of the herpes on the face. Yes, you can get it in more places than just your parts. You can get it anywhere. Herpes will present in the place that it entered. It exits and shows itself in the place that it entered. So you know that if you have it on your hands, generally the person who gave it to you was touching your hands. Okay? A lot of nail techs get it here in their eye, around their eyes and on their face from, you know, you're just like doing someone's nails and then you scratch your eye, you scratch your face, you scratch your nose, you get it in your neck. You're like, how the hell did I get herpes on my face? Okay, but it can present itself anywhere. Okay, human papillomavirus, HPV. Y'all heard of that? They were giving out vaccines to little girls for HPV. Why, I do not know, but I'm an anti-vaxxer, y'all. I don't believe in vaccines. Humans have been around for a whole lot longer without vaccines than they have with. And I feel like they cause more problems than others, but you do what you want to do. But they have now have vaccines for these things to prevent you from getting it. And what are some ways that these places that these things can live? Y'all be very careful when y'all going to these nail salons and getting waxed. You whack your lip, honey. Do your chin too, honey. You be like, damn.
Right.
Why you all up here? I don't need that. Yet you do, honey. First of all, unless you are, how are you supposed to be getting waxed in the nail salon? Only if they are a licensed what? Or esthetician. Okay? Most of them ain't got a license of anything. Barely got a driver's license. Okay? Because these organisms can live in these different like wax and stuff like that, and I've seen it before. Oh Lord, I told y'all I had a story about when I got thrown out of the nail salon at the Augusta Mall. I got thrown out. But one of the reasons why the lady, you know, they always waxing in there, okay? And this lady, she, bless her heart, she had, what's that condition where you just grow hair, your woman grow hair? She had like PCOS. You could tell I ain't diagnosing her or anything, but you could tell she had some type of something because she was growing like a full beard, right? And she had a lot of ingrown hairs. And that little lady with them, I don't even think they make high heels that small. I was like, where you go to buy them little tiny high heels? Anyway, she was waxing this lady's face, and she was going into the wax, and she was rubbing it on. Psh, same wax stick right back in there, rubbing it on. Psh, same wax stick. I'm like, them wax sticks come in a pack of 1,000 for like $5. Why are you double dipping into that wax? And all I could just see was like this lady's, you know,
Yeah. Situation.
all in that wax. In my mind, I could see it, and I'm just looking like. And, you know, unfortunately, I can't hide nowhere. Even when I go places, people might not say nothing to me, but they know me. They know me. So I was getting a pedicure. This was the very last time I ever went to a nail salon before I became an instructor. And I was getting a pedicure, and the lady sat down, mind you, she sat down and she had her like 3-year-old with her. This was not the owner of the salon. She sat down to do my pedicure. The 3-year-old's just screaming. He's like, eh, and you know, I don't know what he was saying, but he was not happy. And she was telling him to go away, go to the back, whatever. And he was just like not having it. So I was annoyed because I don't really like kids like that, unless they're my own or people that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like unruly kids. I like good kids that when you tell them to sit down, they sit down. So he's not sitting down, whatever she's saying to him. So I'm annoyed because I'm trying to relax, you know. So then she gets ready to do my pedicure, and she pulls out the pumice stone. Pumice stone looked like a bar of soap that done been used for about a week daily in the tub. And I was like, can I get a new one? And she was like, huh? She didn't speak English. I was like, can I get a new one? And so she still didn't understand me. So I was like, tell your manager, click clock over here so I can tell her I want a new one. So she flip-flopped over there in them high heels. And I said, can I get a new pumice stone? And she was like annoyed. She went to the back. And she came out with, it wasn't in the pack or anything. She came out from the back with one that was kind of new. It just wasn't new. And I was like, and she handed it to her. The edges was all worn down. You know, they're supposed to be square. And I was like, no. Can I get a new one? And she looked me dead in my face and said, can I say it the way she said it? Sure. What are you, state board? I said, huh? So nobody at all in the corner was like, she ain't state board, but she is Mary Negron. Like, hey, Mary. I was like, who is that? Who is that? I ain't know the person saved my life. And I was like, ma'am, no, I'm not the state board, but I will call the state board. And you know you're supposed to be getting, using clean, new pumice stones on everybody. And she was like, you get out. You pay.
And I was like, pay for what? I didn't do anything. And so all I did was soak my feet. She hadn't even got to the point. She was getting ready for the pedicure. But she had poured the stuff in there and done all the, the little, put the stuff in the water and stuff. And I was like, pay? Pay for what? I was like, no problem, I'm gonna pay. But I walked up out of there, I tipped everything over on my way. I'm like, pushing stuff off the tables. I'm like, bumping things. I'm like, I'll pay, no problem. I was like, but you gonna pay too. One thing about me, I don't call the state board. I believe in karma, right? Karma gets people. So I didn't call the state board. But I tell this story all the time, which is enough, number one. That was a diamond nail in the mall, Augusta Mall, okay? Just so y'all know. But I do go by there quite often with my cell phone and just stand in the door and take pictures and then walk away. Because that's what the state board does. When they come in now, just so you know, that's why she told them not to get up and run away, because there's no point. They catch you. They walk in. When they walk in, they have their phone ready and they snap a picture of everybody who's in there working. And they're like, let me see the license for this person, this person, this person that's in this picture. And if they can't provide, then they get fined. So that's what I do just to mess with them. I just go by there and just be like, and then walk away. I would never go in there. Disgusting. Beautiful. They got angels and clouds and Victorian scrolls on the wall and ceilings. Like, it's the one inside. That inside one. But I believe they own, no, the one that's outside is called Paris de Bleu.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one on the inside is called Diamond Nail.
The inside one owned by that lady that she worked for.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have one in the mall.
Is she little? Is she a little lady? Like really tiny with high heels all the time? Always made up to the hip.
I'm not sure, but she always be dressed up all the time.
That might,
She'll be
well, the
wearing-
one I'm talking about looks like a pubescent little girl.
Oh yeah, no.
Prepubescent. Anyway. Anyhow. So, again, don't fall into those nasty habits. Ew, this is gross. Okay. Ew, yeah, that's a fungus. Okay. And in this case, this person, this is probably ringworm. Okay. That's probably a ringworm. And on top of the fact that they have an ingrown hair, this chapter is also taught to the barbers and the cosmetologists. So yeah, that's gross. I hope you wouldn't touch that, right? You wouldn't do nails on somebody who's got this going on. Yeah, thank you. We're not even gonna do that. Okay. But we deal with funguses in a different type of way on the fingernails. And then also, remember we talked about greenies last week, right? Greenie is a type of fungus, but it's not a contagious fungus, right? It is caused by what? Water. And so that green is a mold. It's a mold, all right? So there's your parasites, your lice. That's what they look like. Ew. Make you want to itch and scratch. All right. Now, already we talked about, I think this is in the wrong order here. So step one, remember we're going to clean. We're going to clean those implements with soap and water, okay? With a brush to get in between all of the cracks and crevices and things of that nature on the implements, okay? I will answer questions, but you got to be on the YouTube so that I can pull them up. All right. So, as far as the cleaning is concerned, here's something that's very important. So we're going to clean with soap and water, right? And then we're going to rinse the soap off of the implement. You must remove all of the soap. Okay? Now, here's something that you guys do that you shouldn't be doing. You don't want to take the implements while they're still dripping wet and drop them into your already pre-made disinfecting solution. Why? You're adding more water, which therefore dilutes the solution and then renders it useless. So Think about when you're doing your dishes, right? You wash your dishes, you wash them in soap and water. You don't just put them in the into the cabinet. You're going, this is if you hand wash, all right? You got to dry them off, or you lay them out to dry, okay? Lay them out to dry, one of the two, all right? Now, think about this when you guys are booking your appointments. Think about this. You're not going to book your clients and say, if it takes you an hour to do a service, are you going to book let's just say you book your clients and it takes you an hour to do a set of nails. I'm just giving a nice round number. It might take you 2. But are you going to book your clients at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, back to back to back like that? Not unless you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of implements that are already cleaned, because you've got to clean those implements up. If you're booked back to back to back to back and you don't get up and you don't clean those implements, I either A, hope that you have pre-cleaned all of your implements the day before and you've got them ready for the clients your next day, or you got an assistant that's doing it for you, because you've got to have a block of time in between to clean and sanitize not just your implements, y'all, but your table. Okay, I know you guys wipe your tables down with those sanitizing wipes, but you know y'all are actually not really doing anything to the table. What do we have to do with those wipes? If we read the directions, what do we actually have to do with that's why I hate having sanitizing wipes. If you read the directions on those sanitizing wipes, you know what it says? Well, A, you got to use it on a clean table. So that means you got to go through with some soap and water, clean the table, but remove the debris. But then when you use the wipes, you've got to have enough juice in those wipes. Juice. Sanitizing and disinfectant solution to lay that wipe on that table, wipe it down, and the table be wet for 3 minutes. So really what you should do is take the wipes and just kind of lay like 3 or 4 of them on and just let it sit there for 3 minutes and then take them in, which is a waste. All of these things are just wasteful. The best thing to have, you guys, is a bottle, which I pushed mine onto the floor. A spray bottle with barbicide in it that has already been pre-mixed, and spray that barbicide on your table until it is sopping wet. Walk away and then come back 10 minutes later and wipe it down. And you got to do that in between every client. Not to mention, you need to wipe off the lamps. You touched that lamp. You touched the switch on the lamp. You touched your trash can. You touched all these things. That's why we have foot pedals on the trash cans. Okay? Again, do what you want when you get out of here. But when you go to state board, I've told you. And so when you go to state board and take your state board practical exam, remember these things. If you sneeze, you gonna just keep on going? I don't know. It was a fake sneeze.
No, I mean like with your hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, try to, but something, not in your hand. If y'all ever had somebody do that, why are you doing it? Their nails, or they're the client, they sneeze and then they, girl, go wash your hands. Or they digging in their nose or whatever. I mean, all of this stuff is stuff that you guys gonna run into it, right? It might be you that did it. You might, please don't sneeze and then go back to doing my nails. Please don't do that. She did what? Say it louder.
There was this girl. She was like a social media fashionista. She thought she was that girl. I was doing her nails. You know when you like shape the tip for like almond or whatever? Right before I got ready to like put the prep or whatever, she dug in her ear. And she was digging real hard. And then gave me her hand back and there was wax.
That's how you look? Your eyeballs about to pop out your head. There was wax underneath.
Brown wax underneath that nail.
Ew.
How upset I was.
Oh my God. Did you clean it? What'd you do?
I took it off.
She was like, I took a cotton ball and I cleaned it
At
off.
first, I tried to like make it kind of noticeable that there's stuff there like that's gross, and I like sprayed like.
You can't spray wax off.
No, but I had to spray and I was like.
I mean, see, y'all are better than me. See, I consider myself to be a funny girl. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, girl, girl, go get it. Did you just? No, you didn't. I'm gonna embarrass you, but in a way that you think is funny. But I'm gonna be talking about you in my class. She didn't see it. She just dug it. That's what she do all the time. Cause her little dirty ear itches all the time. Guaranteed.
In the same appointment, she opens up a banana, and I don't know who, when they're done eating a banana, has banana smeared all on their hand.
No way.
Who eats like that? Then she takes the peel, and she's like, I'll pick it up before I leave, and puts the peel on the carpet. The one.
You would have had to get out. You wouldn't have been serviced after that. Banana on my floor.
See,
I said, no, there's a trash can over here.
see, Amari be doing. She is taking a lot of BS because she ain't licensed yet, and she trying not to.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
good. Snap.
Trying not to do
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah.
the barbecue girl? Banana.
What?
Barbecue? Yeah, she came in like she ate probably like wings and she had barbecue like all over her nails before I even got started.
See, you guys are lucky. This is food we're talking about, not bodily fluids or things of that nature. You can't even see the bodily fluids 9 times out of 10. But wax the wax is some dirty work.
That's disgusting.
She did it right in front of you.
No, but like,
I'd have been like,
like it must have felt so.
I'd have said, "Do you want a Q-tip,
That
girl?
was
Do you?"
disgusting.
That is gross. That is very gross.
Oh my god.
That is very, very, very gross.
I would have got the college back.
But
She was very well known in Statesboro too.
oh,
Disgusting.
I would have cut that tip off.
Started all over.
We done.
that's gross. Yeah, that is gross. Okay, so remember, clean soap and water, rinse off the soap, and then dry or let it air dry before we put it in our disinfectant. Okay. Now, once it goes into the disinfectant, again, all these disinfectants have different time limits. Now, let me ask y'all this: if it says 10 minutes in the disinfectant, and you're like, I'm about to go, I got to go home, I got somewhere to go, and you leave it overnight, what can happen?
Right.
Because we're talking about, most of the time, stainless steel implements here.
Tarnish.
Tarnish is a good word, but there's a better one. How about rust? Okay, your stuff will rust in this. Okay, and once it did it get wet? No. Okay. Once it rusts, it's kind of hard to get. I think there's like what's that, CLR to get the rust off or whatever. But once it rusts, these implements start to dull. Okay, they won't be as sharp as they used to be. This goes for your drill bits, okay, your implements, your pushers, your scissors, all of those things. So we want to set a timer, y'all, because if you take it out at 9 minutes, it's not doing the job. You gotta follow the instructions, okay? Follow the directions. Again, think about it. If it was you, would you want somebody to use an implement on you that was only in there for 5 minutes and you know damn well it's supposed to be in there for 10? Don't be like that, y'all. All right, hand washing. We're gonna do a hand washing experiment today. Where did Shayla go? Oh, okay. I was just like, she all right? That's sidekick at. All right. So we're gonna do a hand washing experiment today. Okay. We're gonna see who in here has good hand washing skills. Okay. And you're gonna learn the reasons why we want to use those nail brushes to clean out from underneath nails and around the nails when we send our clients to wash their hands. Okay. We'll go over that in a minute. We're going to try our best. If we can, please buy antibacterial soap. All right. I know you want your Salon to be nice, and you want it to, your theme colors is yellow and gray, and so you want to buy the lemon soap or whatever. Just make sure it's antibacterial. okay, for these very important purposes. Waterless hand sanitizers, again, those are things that you should have at your table, but the client has to wash their hands first in order for it to work, remember? Okay, so make sure we're sanitizing our clients' hands before we work on them, because who knows, what if they touch their face or their hand, whatever, on their way over to you, okay? Now, there's common antiseptics that we use in the salon, which are alcohol and hydrogen peroxide, okay? But these are antiseptics, not disinfectants, okay? I have seen nail technicians that will clean their implements in alcohol. This is not okay, okay? You can't just wipe it down with a disinfecting wipe either, okay? We just talked about what you have to do. It has to sit for a certain amount of time, wet, all right? So don't do that either. Once we put it in the disinfecting solution, again, there is pink barbicide, y'all. It's not called barbicide. It's called, somebody in the chat's gonna tell me. I can't remember. It's so pretty. A lot of nail techs prefer it because of the color. Cavicide. So it's pink. But they all have different ratio mixing, so make sure you follow the instructions. All right, make sure that it has full contact. Now, what do I mean by that? Fully submerged into the actual disinfecting solution. So y'all know these cups that you see, the cups, and then the nail techs are just taking and put it in the barbicide, but the handle's still out. Is that? It's like when you get baptized. You know, if you get baptized and your foot comes up, they're like, oh, we got to go in again. The sins rose up to the toe. We got to dunk her under there again. Get all them sins away. Same thing. We got to fully submerge, Lucaside. Sorry, Lucaside is the name of it. Fully submerge the implement into the barbicide, okay? So if it's something that floats, I don't know, you're gonna have to put weight on it or something, put something on top of it so it comes up. So you got to make sure that it's completely submerged. Also, again, that only non-porous implements. Y'all ever been to a hair salon and you see these ones like that you see on the screen up there, and there's stuff floating in it? Hair, pieces of skin, all kinds floating in it. As far as barbicide is concerned, you change barbicide when it starts to get cloudy, or depending on how many people are using it, you may have to do it daily. If you are a one-person nail salon, and you may only change it once every few days, okay? So again, this big gallon, it should be gone after a while. Think about it. This is 64 ounces. If you're a big nail salon, you might be buying this stuff and using a whole gallon of it every other day if it's a big salon, okay? We go through it a lot when you guys start working on actual humans. You know, we haven't really been working on humans. You've only been working on your mannequins. But when we work on humans, you guys have to be using clean implements, okay? Now, again, I already told you, clean and rinse first, complete immersion, and then it has to stay for the full contact time. Now, there are different types of disinfectants out there. There's something called Quartz. Quartz. Oh, no, you didn't. That is my favorite taco place, y'all. She went to Taco Cat. I was hoping she had 2 bags because one was for me.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Y'all, if you haven't had Taco Cat, they only have like 7 tacos or 8 tacos.
That's all I need.
8 different types of tacos. I usually get the one that has all 8. It's like $30 for that whole thing. They're so good. They're bougie tacos. They're so good. Anyway, let me get back to it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know she was gonna think of it. She knew she couldn't come in here with and not at least say, "I got you 1 taco." All right. Quaternary ammonium compounds. What is a quaternary ammonium compound? otherwise known as quats. Okay, these are disinfectants that are very effective when they're used properly. And the most advanced type of these formulas are known as multiple quats. Now, quat solutions usually defect implements in 10 minutes. So what do you think is a quat that is on this table? Quaternary ammonium compound. Barbicide is a quaternary ammonium compound. Now, tuberculocidal disinfectants, these you will see most of the time in hospitals, and they're very, 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 very toxic. Okay, so you probably won't even find these to be able to buy and use in the salon, and they pretty much banned them in some places. Now, let's talk about bleach real quick, because bleach is fine. You can mix bleach. Here's the problem with bleach. It's corrosive to the skin. You do not want to get it on your skin. Y'all ever left bleach on your skin too long? It burns a little bit, itches or whatever. Also very lung irritant, and it damages metals, plastics, and also if it gets in your eyes, it's going to be a problem. So can we disinfect our nylon brushes in it? No. It's going to damage it. If you get bleach on your plastic parts of your, let's just say your pedicure chair, it's going to eat away at it. So you don't want to use bleach. Not to mention, bleach is a 1 to 10 solution. So we're talking 1 ounce to 10 ounces. So you got to use a lot of bleach. Okay. And then also, it's only good for 24 hours. So if you make a big container of bleach solution, after 24 hours, it is no longer doing the job anymore. You can mix this, leave it in the container pre-mixed forever, like until you get ready to use it. All right. And if you leave it out and it's in a bleach, if it's in a container that light can get to it, it will make it less than 24 hours good for use. So why use it? Plus, it smells very, very, very strong. I mean, I like the smell of bleach when I walk into someone's house. I know it's clean. I know you cleaned it. If your bathroom smells like bleach, I'm happy. Prefer for it to smell like, lavender or Fabuloso or Lysol. However, do whatever. But I like the smell of bleach in a hospital, but not in the salon. Preferably, Barbicide doesn't have a very, very strong smell. Okay, so we have to wear gloves. Must wear gloves when mixing this stuff, and if you're touching implements that have been soaked in it. So instead, what do we use? They're right there on the tray. When we're taking these things out of our disinfectant, you need to use tongs. Tongs, okay? Big ones, small ones, long ones, short ones, but they need to be able to pull the stuff out of it, your implements out of it. So we're going to avoid skin contact. And then when we're mixing, try to make sure that you're pouring the disinfectant into the water, not the water into the disinfectant. Why? Because of splashing. We're only putting a little bit of the disinfectant. That's just a little hint there or a little tip for you guys to do it that way. All right. Also, you might want to have what we call a tray with these holes in it for when you're cleaning things, right? So we can go, and I put a couple of them up here. You can clean it, let it drain off, bring it to wherever your towel is, and then also when you're disinfecting, moving it from there. Because when we take it out of the disinfecting solution, it's covered in solution, right? So what do we now need to do to it? We need to rinse it off and then let it air dry. So this is one of the things where I'm like, why would you put it inside of a sterilization container after it's been out in the air? Like, am I not talking over this? Right? So you want to try to limit the amount of time that it's out exposed to the air. It is disinfected, but it's definitely not sterile. Okay, 2 different things. All right, again, follow those instructions. Now, we've already talked about that. Let's see. Oh, this is a big one. Everything has to be labeled. So if you do have a bottle that is disinfectant, it needs to say disinfectant on it. Okay, the state board will fine you if you have bottles of anything that's just laying around that does not have a label on it. Okay, whether it's alcohol or acetone, you can't tell the difference between the two unless you smell it or touch it, or you don't want to have to be doing that. All right, so now when it comes to pedicure chairs, which I have one right here, this is not a state board law or rule in Georgia, but it is in Florida. Okay, this is a pedicure logbook. Anytime that you clean or disinfect, and this is for when, especially when you're working in a salon that has a lot of people in it, this is a log that states that who cleaned it, when they cleaned it, the date, time, whatever. Okay, this should be done. Again, should be. It's not a big deal unless you are in a state that is going to, fine you if you don't. Like I said, Florida does. But the state board in this school, I have to have this. Okay, that's why I don't like this chair. Okay, if you look at the dates on this, the last time it was written, and it was Shayla who did it, was 5/14/2024. Okay, that's the last time it was probably used, because we just like using the other ones that you just throw the liner away. All you gotta do is clean off. What am I doing handing you? I'll put it back in a minute.
They can look at it.
Yeah. Okay. So again, a logbook is helpful. And if I had a salon where I had 25 people working in it, like these big salons, I would probably want them to do it. As a client, I would see. I hate to be a Karen. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to run into a Karen every now and then. And if they are well versed in the state board rules and regulations, they might ask you, where's your logbook? When is the last time this was cleaned? How do you know? How do I know? Just saying. It'd be people like, y'all know it's people like that out there. All right. Now, here's a question for you. How do we, because you'd be like, well, what about my e-file? How do I disinfect my e-file? Anything electrical, like, these barbers and clippers and things like that. Y'all ever seen them guys that have them bumps and stuff on the back of their neck? In Nigeria, my little boo thing, he brings his own clippers. Because, they do that. They recommend it. Like, bring your own clippers. They don't even disinfect. What school they went to? There's no barber school with licensing or state board over there. So if you don't want to catch the lumpy lumps back there, you better bring your own clippers. But as far as e-files and stuff are concerned, how do we clean those? Obviously, we're not going to submerge them into disinfectant, right? But we're going to definitely at least use some type of sanitizing wipes. Everything you touch, okay? Everything you touch, you want to disinfect it with disinfectant wipes or something of that nature. Do the best you can, all right? Now, linens and towels, capes and things like that, that's why we have to wash them. We wash them. Hopefully you're using bleach, okay? So I know you want to buy the pink towels to match your pink salon, but if they stay pink for forever, then I know that you're probably not bleaching them unless you're using, I don't know, they got that color bleach. Does that really work? I've never used it. That bleach for colors. I can't imagine. If it don't take the color away, how is it killing anything? I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. Someone said, does Ship Shape help with the barbicide? I usually soak my tools in each for 10 minutes and sterilize. I have heard of Ship Shape, but I don't know what it is. I think what it does. I think that's a barber tool as well, some kind of cleanser. I can't answer that question. I don't use it. Regular soap and water. Now, what is chelating soaps? Y'all ever heard of that before? Chelating soap. It is a soap that does not bubble a lot. For instance, things like this. You don't want to use soaps like, for instance, would you put Dawn dish detergent in your dishwasher? Has anybody ever done that? I did it when I was a kid. My daddy beat me. Eee! You know what happened? The whole kitchen filled up with bubbles. Because Dawn, you know how we use it for if you're like me, you're bubble bath with that. Give you the best bubbles ever, right? So there's soaps out there, the soap that we use in the dishwasher or even in our washing machine. If you put Dawn in your washing machine, what do you think is going to happen? Bubbles everywhere, right? So chelating soaps are soaps that do not easily bubble, or they don't have films, very heavy films left on. That's why on our clothes they won't feel soapy afterwards. We use different types of soaps for different types of things. So that's what a chelating soap is. Again, you may need to know that for stay board. All right. Now y'all seen these things before? All right. What is that? What is that? It is a biohazard container. That's where you throw your sharps or anything that could possibly have blood. If you're going to a barber salon that does not have one of these, it's probably a problem because they use straight razors, and they should be throwing those razors. If it's an old school barber salon, some barbering salon, they use straight razors. They should be throwing their razors away, and anything that is used directly onto the skin. Now, what is the standard precautions? Standard precautions is something that was created by the CDC. Who are the CDC? The CDC is right here in Atlanta. Anybody who's ever watched Walking Dead? Y'all ain't never watched Walking Dead? Yeah. Y'all remember the CDC in the show was the reason why we had the Walking Dead. They probably got a zombie virus over there in Atlanta. If a zombie apocalypse ever breaks out, it's going to start in Atlanta. Y'all better run to the west. All right. But the CDC, Center for Disease Control, okay, they require employees and employees and employers to assume that everybody has a disease. If you don't go around asking your clients, do you got HIV? Because if you got HIV, I can't do your nails because I might cut you and you might bleed on me. You need to assume that everybody does. If you assume everybody does, then you won't have any problems. And this is standard precautions. Just treat everybody like they got some type of disease or some type of contagious virus, okay? And if you do that, you'll be good, all right? So, standard precautions, everybody should be practicing standard precautions, which is what? What's a standard precaution? What's a standard precaution they use in your doctor's office? They come in there and start drawing your blood without gloves on? They're going to put gloves on because they don't know what if, maybe, right? Same thing with your clients. Now, I realize that it is very difficult to do nails with gloves on. I don't usually do clients' nails with gloves on. I'm just going to tell you the truth. But I also am requiring my clients to wash their hands. I wash my hands, and on all of the and if there is any blood that becomes present during the service, what do you do? Those that have done the state board practice, blood exposure procedure, right? If there's a blood exposure procedure, there's a blood exposure procedure that we perform. And we don't just perform it. Most everybody has to know what a blood exposure procedure. Any y'all ever watched that show Chopped? That show where they cook and they're like competition and they're moving fast. They got 30 minutes to make some mystery meal out of a, piece of this and a piece of that and a little bit of this weird ingredient, right? And then y'all ever seen somebody get cut in that show? What do? They're like, oh man. They run to the back. There's a paramedic back there, and they're bleeding blood just running down their arm. And you're like, ooh, they about to keep cooking. What do? They do the blood exposure procedure. They stop the service. They stop cooking. They stop the bleeding. They run them back there. They put a bandage on it. They hold it for. They're like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Only got 2 more minutes left to make this mystery meal and win this money, right? Then they do what? They clean it off. They got to clean it off with some alcohol. Clean it. Then they bandage it. Then they glove that hand. And they're still bleeding because they cut the whole tip of their finger off, but they're going to still keep going. And then they go back to cooking, and you can just see them. And I'm like, I'm not eating that one. I'm not eating. You lost already in my book. You cut your finger off, you lost. You're not a good chef. But anyway, that procedure must be done. Same thing with nail techs, okay? Blood exposure procedure. And when you do your state board, if you accidentally cut yourself before the blood exposure procedure, you got to do the blood exposure procedure or you failed the whole test, okay? So, personal protective equipment, PPE, what is that? Not just gloves, but what else? Masks, absolutely. A mask is a personal protective equipment. What's one more? Glasses, safety glasses. And I know you guys aren't using safety glasses. I don't see any of y'all, you know, using safety glasses, or maybe you wear glasses, but let me just tell you, when you're e-filing and you're doing, maybe you're removing stones and stuff like that, and a stone hits you in the eyeball, or even a nail tips hit you in the eyeball, you'll be one of those nail techs that wears safety goggles all every time you're doing something that where it could fly up in your eye. Okay, I had a rhinestone go up my nose one time and land right on the back of my throat. I was like, oh God, oh my God, it just went right. Luckily, I didn't choke on it, and I didn't take a breath. It went up my nose and landed on the back of my tongue. It was, yeah, that was gross. I got all kinds of stories, y'all. All right, remember, we're gonna throw our gloves. We got to take our gloves off properly. Y'all know how to do it the right way for those that have done it already. All right, try to use, if you can get away with it. Some people are allergic to latex. Now, we got latex gloves because nobody has indicated to me that they have a latex allergy, because nitrile gloves are expensive, okay? But they do make it, there are different ones that you can buy, okay? Everybody got that? All right, so we are going to, I'm not gonna do the blood exposure procedures today because that's a whole different thing, all right? We are going to, oh, let me talk about this real quick. Ventilation. Ventilation. What are different types of ventilation that we, or why do we need ventilation in the nail salon? This is one of the reasons why y'all can't open up salons in y'all's houses. The fumes, the smells, the odors, things like that. In places like California, if you want to open up a nail salon in California, you have to have a ventilation system attached to your air conditioning unit. And the minimum price for that kind of stuff is somewhere around $10,000 to $20,000. Okay? It sucks up, keeps all the dust, because in your air conditioning, you got a little filter, right? But this dust is going in and it's blowing it right back out. Well, you know, in California, they like, you know, all health conscious and stuff, and all, you know, Governor Newsom over there with his hair. Anyway, they require you to have that, and a lot of nail salons don't ever get open because they can't afford that part. Okay, now we're lucky over here in our state, they don't require a ventilation system. But what's another type of ventilation system that you've seen before? Not just the air conditioning or say a window or a door. Here in Augusta, Georgia, in order to open a salon, you just have to have a window or a door. That's a ventilation system. All right, you open the door, let the smell out, let the air out. Okay, but what's another way that you can prevent dust and odors?
Dust collector.
Yeah, a dust collector. You got the Valentinos, you got the sunflowers, some of the Avarex systems. Y'all got them little cheapo ones that you can get on Temu that are like $15 that don't do anything really but just make noise. They got all different, I mean, they're not really sucking anything or blowing anything. You can use an air purifier. However, it really, all that's doing is just nothing for the dust.
Yeah, for the dust.
So you've got the air purifiers so when you think of an air purifier, right, that's really for people who like smoke or have you know, because those particles are so tiny. Pollen and stuff like that, so tiny. The smell, the smoke particles, so tiny. They're floating in the air. Dust, yeah, some of it floats, but most of it goes right on your table or in your nose. So these direct capture ones, like a Valentino, for instance, the tabletop ones, they tend to catch the dust that's right in your breathing area. Those heavier, bigger particles of dust, okay? So an air purifier is nice, but it's not doing what we want it to do, okay? So I highly recommend, if you're going to get a dust collector, there are different varieties. Me personally, the ones like, for instance, the Valentinos, they're great, but they do a whole lot more blowing and not enough sucking to me. In my opinion. I have 5 of them, okay? So don't get it twisted. There's 3 of them in the back. You guys can use them anytime you want, but you got to buy the filters for them, and they're $60 a pack for 12 of them, or $50 or something like that, okay? And I ain't buying those. Now, and then my big thing is, if I got to clean up the dust that it blew, because there's a fan that sucks it down, and then the fan blows the dust it doesn't catch over here onto your neighbor's table. And then you still got to clean that up. And then it's in the air. So it's just like, you know what? I'd rather wear a mask and have a towel or something on top of my table. Let it fall down. Whatever's in the air, have the mask on so that it's not going in your nose. And then throw away the dust into the trash can. That's just what works best for me. And cheaper, and has worked for 25 years of my nail career. Okay. Now again, those little cheaper ones, they work, but they have the filters are not there. You remove them and you tap the dust out, and then you put it back in. What do? You don't even replace them. So at some point, don't you think they get clogged up, or like this? What do you do? Do y'all put them in a dishwasher? I don't know. I don't know what you do with those reusable ones. I mean, they work
Some
too.
people put like the paper towel on there, or like a mesh.
Yeah, I've seen those. You can buy the filter covers, right? And I don't know, I guess those work too. But still, at the end of the day, those things they have a fan, and it's blowing more dust. Whatever's not directly going in there is getting blown everywhere. So you're still going to have to clean dust. And I'm just like, if I got to clean dust, let me just clean it, let it fall right here. Instead of blow all the way over there. Now I got to
You
vacuum my
already
floor.
got on the mask.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Wear a mask, y'all. Please wear a mask when you're going to be filing. Any of y'all that are doing nails, you spend way more time filing. You spend a lot of time filing out of your entire day. If you're working 8 hours a day doing nails, you're spending 2 hours filing total, at least, okay? So you want to protect yourself from that dust, okay? Now, gotta have these exits, fire extinguishers and things like that when you get a salon. You gotta have them, okay? Put that on your list of things that you're gonna have to have in order to be legal, okay? And they charge you annually to come and check each one. You have to buy it, and then they come and check it, and there's a fee for that. So go ahead and allocate about $300 a year for just your fire extinguishers alone, depending upon how big your space is. My space requires me to have 2, so we have 2, and they charge me for both. Okay, fire exit signs and things like that, gotta have those. Ever wondered why every business has them? And the place down the street that's a not legit business doesn't? Because these people they're not getting their inspections done, okay? Your attire, very important. Got to make sure you're wearing the proper attire when doing nails, unless you don't mind messing up your $60, jeans that you bought from every place in the mall. I love those jeans. What's that place called?
You talking about
Not Aeropostale, American Eagle.
Oh, man.
They got the best jeans. And when you get too fat and you can't wear them no more, I got like 3 pairs. They'll let you trade in jeans. They give you a pair for free. Yeah, didn't know if y'all knew that. Anyhow, here's a big one. Children. Do y'all allow kids in y'all salon?
No.
Or are you going to allow children in your salon? That's a personal preference, but me, I'm not with it. Because if you I was always doing one person at a time. I was a suite. So if I'm doing your nails and you're watching me, then who's watching them? Me. Because I'm looking to see why they're over there licking my windows and playing with my polish and about to drink my monomer that looks like Gatorade to them. Like, you can't bring a child into my salon. And I used to and it was on my booking site. Now, people can get mad, they can say what they want, but you couldn't bring your kid. This is a relaxing place. I don't like going to salons that allow kids. I just told you the worker had her kid there. I was like, what in the world? I can't relax in here, okay? And I just don't think a salon is where kids should be. And there's salons that have little children pedicure chairs. Why does your 5-year-old need to have a pedicure? I mean, I think it's cute, but there's salons that allow that, and I don't go to those places.
What's the youngest?
Me? They got to be old enough to at least drive, because I don't want your mama sitting in the corner bothering me too while I'm doing your nails either. And you're not about to drop your kid off at my salon so that you can come get them 4 hours later and I'm about to go home. That's just me, right? Your kid need to be able to drive to their 16, 15 with a permit, and somebody that rode with them is going over there to Walmart shop while I do your nails.
And how they money, Jesus.
Yes, and please, did y'all see that video of that girl that got drugged?
The hairstyle?
Yeah. Now, I'm not dragging nobody. But I have been known to clip nails off. I have been known to do that. Okay. So, you do what you want to do. Pick your poison and your headache, and what type of Tylenol you like to take. Because I don't deal with kids in the salon. I don't want to deal with them at my job, whatever job I have, unless I'm a daycare worker. Okay. There's also, you may have clients who are adult clients who have sitters and things of that nature. For instance, not a sitter but a caregiver. Okay. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. Now that's a different story. Okay. Again, I wouldn't have a problem doing somebody who needed assistance and things like that. But again, that's you do what you want to do. Okay, you got your elderly clients and things of that nature with diabetes and pregnant and all that, and we can get to that when we talk about A&T clients. All right, so everybody understand the infection control procedures, right? Okay, now we're going to do a little experiment. Okay, and I don't want y'all to do nothing special. Okay, we're going to do a hand washing experiment. This right here, what I have here, this is called Glow Germ Gel. Any of y'all ever worked in a medical type of field? Maybe CNA, CNA. If you ever worked in like a hospital, or maybe they may have made you do. I had to do this when I first got hired as an EMT at University Hospital back when it was University. I think it's called Piedmont now. Okay, it's been a whole lot of things. You can tell people's age by what they call a hospital. MCG used to be called Talmadge. The old folks, like people in their 80s, and carry me to Talmadge. Like, where's that? Anyhow, I had to do this experiment go through orientation. This was a hand washing experiment. So this is a lotion. It's just a lotion, okay, or like a cream. I want you guys, don't do anything special. Some of y'all have nails on. Some of you have rings on, okay. Some of you don't have nails on. Doesn't matter, okay. We're all gonna take a little squirt of this. Everybody, I'm gonna put it on your hands, okay. And I want you to rub it in. And I mean, rub it in. Don't take nothing off, because you just rinse it off with water. Now, you can take your watches off or bracelets or anything that you have. Because I want you to go up to your wrists. Because when you're washing your hands, you should be going up to at least your wrists, right? Don't just wash the palms of your hands, all right? Now, this gel, when you put it on, it's going to look clear in the light. But when we shine a UV light on it, it will glow purple. Just like some of these UV polishes, when you put it in the light, it gives like that, like black light, okay? So after I put it on your hand and you rub it in, you're gonna go and wash your hands. And we're not gonna use any nail brushes. I want you to just wash your hands so you see why we need your clients to be using a nylon brush to wash their hands. Because I don't care who you are or what you say, how good you wash your hands, you're not gonna get it all off. It's just not. Okay, it's just nobody in here has ever gotten it 100% off. Never. We always find a little boo-boo on their wrists or somewhere on their, you know, on their, and then it made me understand why when I was working in the medical field, because I was a nail tech, licensed when I was working at the hospital, and they were like, you cannot wear artificial nails working here. You cannot wear acrylics. You cannot wear gel. No extensions, and your fingernails need to be short. And you can't wear gel polish. You just can't. And I'm like, why? That don't make no sense. You'll see why. Okay, especially those of you that have nails on your hands right now. Okay, so Shayla, I'm gonna put some on my hands, and I'm gonna leave my rings on. Y'all see, I got some big old ghetto rings on today. I got my big ring on today. Okay, I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna rub it in. Okay. And bless you. That was the silent sneeze. Those to me feel like they be trapped. It's coming out later. All right. So I'm gonna put some, about a dime sized amount, enough for you can rub it in, okay? And get it all around your fingernails, okay? Don't cheat. Rub it in like you're rubbing in cuticle oil, okay? Rub it in. If you got rings on, go ahead, put it, because we'll clean it off in a minute. Just leave it on. Okay? Get up to your wrists. All right? Get in there. It don't smell good now. It is not Bath and Body Works. Okay? Y'all about to wash your hands, don't worry, with some antibacterial soap. Now, I'm going to show you guys, because Shayla's going to turn off the light. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like under the let me see. Will you flip that light off for me? Not that one. Let me see. Where's my eye? We will see. I want to take those blinds completely down and put curtains up there. I gotta measure it. Ooh, I can't wait to get this stuff off my hands. It stank. It don't smell good. All right. Let's look at those fingernails underneath them. Do you see? You see?
I did it.
Yeah, you can see. She said L, 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 L. Don't wash too long now, cheaters. Don't wash too long.
Yes, but I'm saying like, I call it.
Ooh, Hannah. Hannah, you got dirty hands. You a dirty girl. You a dirty girl. Oh, Rumi from Statesboro. Let's see some. Let me see some of these hands. Let me put it on the screen. Look, don't go wash them yet, because I want to put y'all on the screen. Put y'all on blast. Wait, not yet, because I want to, and I'm going to show y'all, like, touching other things like this book, okay? I'm going to show you guys. I'm touching this book, and I haven't washed my hands yet. This is just me touching the book, okay? Not having washed my hands yet. It's already dried on my hands, and we're gonna see how much transfer from hand to book, okay? See, every last one of y'all dirty girls, you dirty girls. Not you picking it off and you already wash your hands. Are you picking it?
Elbow.
Oh, no. I know you was over there for 20 minutes.
Listen, no, them
Cheater.
portray.
Let's look underneath the fingernail. Go up to them wrists.
It was unnecessary.
Scratching your booty?
Ew. It ain't gonna show up if it's booty juice. Glue is not gonna show up as UV. Is it UV glue?
Yup.
Lies you tell.
Literally glue. Come on, Astro. My hand's clean. Alright, that's enough.
Just mess. Just a mess. For those that have washed their hands, you see what I'm talking about, right?
Ew, this a good one for you.
You know she don't follow directions anyway. You know, don't go too far because I'm about to use you.
You need a brush.
Come on, let's see. Come and show underneath the screen. No, don't run away. Don't run away. Don't run away. Somebody.